Deep within the primordial, emerald gloom of the Florida Everglades and the Big Cypress National Preserve, a legend breathes. It is a creature of the heavy humidity and the rotting sawgrass, known to locals and researchers alike as the skunk ape. Standing 7 feet tall and covered in matted, reddish-orange hair, it is the swamp's most elusive and spooky resident. The creature earns its name from its most terrifying trait, a soul-crushing stench. Witnesses describe the smell as a mixture of rotten eggs, stagnant swamp water, and a dead animal. This olfactory warning often precedes a sighting by several minutes, hanging in the stagnant air like a physical weight. When the skunk ape is near, the swamp goes heavy and silent. The first modern reports surfaced in the 1960s and 70s. Hunters in the Fakaishi Strand reported seeing a giant upright ape moving through waist-deep water with incredible ease. Unlike the Pacific Northwest Bigfoot, the skunk ape is described as more chimpanzee-like in its facial features, with long gangly arms and a leaner, more aquatic build for the wetlands. In 1974, the mystery turned physical near the city of Hollywood, Florida. Dozens of people reported a hairy giant lurking near a suburban construction site. Police officers found large 4-toed tracks in the mud, distinct from the 5-toed tracks of a typical Bigfoot. The 4-toe trait became a signature of the skunk ape, a spooky anatomical anomaly. The most famous piece of evidence arrived in the year 2000. An anonymous woman in Sarasota County mailed 2 photographs to the local sheriff's department. Known as the Myaka skunk ape photos, they show a dark, shaggy creature with glowing eyes peering out from behind a thicket of saw palmetto. The creature looks prehistoric, like a nightmare emerging from the ferns. Skeptics claim the Myaka photos were just a man in a gorilla suit or an escaped orangutan. But primatologists who studied the images noted the lip-curling expression and the way the light reflected off the creatures. Retinized details difficult to fake with a cheap costume. The heavy gaze of the creature in the photo seems to hold a sentient and territorial intelligence. The Everglades are a perfect hiding place, covering over 1.5 million acres of impenetrable mangroves and cypress heads. It is a landscape where a lost species could easily survive. Dave Shealy, the world's foremost skunk ape researcher, has spent decades in the swamp. He believes there are roughly 7 to 9 of these creatures living in the Big Cypress area at any given time. Shealy's most harrowing encounter occurred in 1997. While standing in a remote prairie, he watched a skunk ape walk across an open field. Described it as moving with a fluid swaying motion, its hair shimmering in the sun. When it caught his scent, it let out a high-pitched metallic whistle and vanished into the cypress in 3 giant strides. It was a ghost of the grass. The spooky side of the legend involves the vanishing. Many hikers report finding nests made of woven palm fronds, often littered with the shells of snails and small alligator bones. But as soon as researchers return with cameras, the nests are empty and the heavy smell is gone. It is as if the skunk ape knows when it is being observed and retreats into the mud. Local Miccosukee and Seminole tribes have their own names for the creature, such as Screech Owl or the Tall Man. To them it is not a monster but a protector of the glades. They believe the skunk ape is a spiritual being that guards the hidden places of the swamp. To see one is a heavy omen that you have wandered too far into the world of the spirits. In the late 90s, a skunk ape was blamed for a series of livestock mutilations in rural Collier County. Pigs and goats were found with their necks snapped, but none of the meat had been eaten. The predators seemed to be killing out of territorial rage rather than hunger. The 4-toed tracks were found leading away from the pens, disappearing into the dark water. Is it a relic hominid? Some theorists believe the skunk ape is a descendant of Dryopithecus, or an early ancestor of the orangutan that crossed the land bridge and adapted to the American Southeast. This would explain its arboreal skills and its comfort in the water. It is a living fossil that found a sanctuary in the one place humans are afraid to follow. The heavy air of the Everglades contributes to the mystery. The combination of heat, methane gas from decaying plants, and the drone of millions of insects can cause hallucinations. Skeptics argue that skunk ape sightings are just waking dreams brought on by swamp fever. But a hallucination doesn't leave physical tracks or snap the necks of 200-pound hogs. In 2013, a video surfaced of a large, dark figure pulling a cypress log out of the water in the Mississippi Delta. The Honey Island swamp monster, close cousin of the skunk ape, showed the same metallic hair and immense strength. It suggests the creature isn't confined to Florida, but patrols the entire Gulf Coast swamp belt, a shadow king of the South. The mystery has spawned a skunk ape research headquarters in Ochopee, Florida. It is a kitschy roadside stop, but behind the souvenirs is a heavy archive of witness accounts. People come in shaking, describing a man-ape that stood in the middle of the road at 3 a.m., its eyes reflecting the headlights like two burning embers before it leaped into the brush. One spooky theory is that the skunk ape uses infrasound, like tigers and elephants. It may emit a frequency below human hearing that triggers primal dread and paralysis. This would explain why witnesses often feel frozen or overwhelmed by a sense of doom before they even see the creature. The smell is just the physical manifestation of its heavy presence. The skunk ape is a master of camouflage. Its reddish hair perfectly matches the tannin-stained water and the rusty needles of the cypress trees. Many hunters realize, in retrospect, that they might have been stared at for hours by a creature standing only 20 feet away, disguised as a mossy stump. It is the invisible stalker of the sawgrass. Could it be an escaped animal? Florida's the capital of exotic pet smuggling. Some argue the skunk ape is just a population of feral orangutans or chimpanzees that escaped from roadside zoos during hurricanes. But the sightings go back centuries, long before the first private zoo was built in the state. The devil of the swamp predates the cages of man. The mystery remains unsolved because the Everglades eat evidence. A body or a bone wouldn't last a month in the acidic, humid environment of the swamp. Scavengers and bacteria would erase a skunk ape from history faster than a researcher could find it. The ghost of the glades is protected by the very rot that gives it its terrifying name. Today, the skunk ape is a cultural icon of Florida. But to the hearers and seers, it is a source of lingering fear. It represents the unconquered wilderness, the idea that just an hour away from the neon lights of Miami, there is a heavy, hairy shadow that doesn't follow our laws. It is the king of the mud, a mystery that thrives in the humidity. As the sun sets over the big cypress, the screech begins. It is a sound that isn't a bird and isn't a bobcat. It is a rhythmic, guttural bark that echoes through the mangroves. The skunk ape is waking up. It is a mystery of four toes and red hair, a story that proves that the deepest swamps still hold the heaviest secrets of the natural world. The final mystery lies in the eyes. In every credible photo or sighting, the eyes are described as having an ancient sadness or a primal rage. It is not the look of a dumb animal. It is the look of a cousin who stayed behind in the dark. Skunk ape is the mirror of our evolution, a mystery that stares back at us from the edge of the swamp. The story of the skunk ape is a masterpiece of regional cryptozoology. It is a tale of stagnant water and hidden nests, a puzzle that will never be solved as long as the Everglades remain wild. The creature's the soul of the cypress, a mystery that reminds us that some places aren't meant for us, they belong to the walker in the wet. As you drive across the Tamiami Trail tonight, keep your windows up. If you smell something rotten and see a shaggy silhouette crossing the road, don't stop. The skunk ape is a heavy reminder that the world is still spooky and untamed. The 13th child of the South is still out there, patrolling the heart of the green in total, stinking silence. The legend ends where it began, in the mist and the mud. The skunk ape is a mystery that doesn't need your belief to exist. It is a physical, stinking reality for those who have seen it. 'Tis the orange ghost of Florida, a mystery that will remain as long as the sawgrass grows and the cypress trees weep in the heavy air of the great southern swamp.